Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. You're listening to another video for League of Legends, this one featuring Vladimir. This is taken from last night's Tuesday YouTube night event, and so this is from all different people who are either friends of the channel or enjoy just watching the games and joining in. In this game, I am playing as Teemo. VarisNox is playing as Vladimir, and this replay is from his point of view. Confused Killer is playing as Tarek. Demonic Xerxes is playing as Shyvana, and Gokhan is playing as Caitlyn. Then on the other side of the map, on the other team, we have Aborted Wang Cake, interesting name, playing as Gangplank. Ayatox playing as Katarina, and I hope I'm getting that right. Enigmarar playing as Rammus, 90 Beast playing as Aurelia, and Gurglar playing as Ryze. So their team comp is a bit weird. They don't really have a traditional AD carry, and they don't really have a support either, so they just have sort of this really weird setup for their bottom lane, and we'll just have to see how that goes as the game goes on. Now, a couple things I want to bring up. One thing I do want to mention is, as I record this, there is a big League of Legends tournament coming up starting tomorrow, IEM Kiev. It's the first big League of Legends tournament in 2012, so going to be watching that. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. I'll probably try to have my live stream on while I'm watching the game, so if people want to listen to some of my thoughts on that, feel free to check it out, and that'll be going on tomorrow and running through the weekend. So I'm going to try to have some of the stuff. I'm going to be watching the event, and I'll probably, like I said, try to have the live stream on if anybody wants to check that out. Now, as for this game, we also did have our first real big patch in several weeks. We really hadn't had a major patch in quite a few weeks for League of Legends. So, a number of different changes, a number of champions getting nerfed and buffed, and there's a little bit of action down here at the bottom of the map. Looks like Katarina and Gangplank are together at the bottom, and it looks like that's the lane that their team's going to be running. But anyway, a lot of different nerfs and buffs to different champions, and I'm going to focus in this video on one of the champions who is most affected, and that is Vladimir. Vladimir got quite a few substantial buffs in this patch, and I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of Vladimir in upcoming weeks. So I asked Varis for this replay. We're going to be focusing on his point of view and talking a bit about Vladimir, because I really haven't done a video on Vlad in absolute ages. I did about a year ago, did a video on Vlad, but obviously a lot has changed since then. And anyway, Varis is going to get started right there. Now, Vlad has long been one of the most problematic champions in this game from a standpoint of character design. There was even a forum post somewhere in the League of Legends forums where somebody asked one of the rioters what was the champion who had given them the most issues, most problems with design since creation, and they said immediately that it was Vlad. So let me talk a little bit about why that is, some of the reasons why Vlad has been such a difficult champion to try to balance. Vlad is basically a mage, but he's a monolith caster. He doesn't have to worry about mana. He's basically cooldown based, and he uses health in order to cast his spells. So he's not pure cooldown based, but he is based on using health. And all of the monolith casters have always been sort of a gray area of design balance. This is one thing that League of Legends does differently than a lot of the other games of this nature. For instance, Dota uses all mana on all champions, and while it's nice that League of Legends tests out different things, tries different stuff, the monolith casters have always been really an issue in terms of the game design. Okay, so Vlad, like I said, all based around using health to cast his spells, and he's caused all kinds of balance headaches just for ages. Part of that is due to his passive. His passive gives him, as he gets extra health, he gets extra ability power from it, and as he gets extra ability power, he gets bonus health. So it's another one of those troubling passives that always has caused issues, sort of like the old Jax passive or the old Kale passive, when you build one stat and it gives you another stat at the same time. So he builds health and he builds AP, and he gets a scaling bonus for both of them. So that's part of the issue right there. Now, Vlad is based, like I said, on cooldowns. His primary skill is his Q, his transfusion, so I'll highlight it here for you. Drains the life force on the target, deals magic damage, and heals himself with extra damage dealt. So pretty simple. It's on a long cooldown initially. The cooldown goes down significantly with more points in the skills. I believe it starts at 10 seconds now and goes down to 4 seconds at max rank. So this is the skill you want to level up first. It's the only way that Vlad gets health back. Is by using his Q, using his transfusion. So basically this allows him to lifesteal off of other champions, and then he uses that health in order to power his other skills. So we'll get to his other skills in a second, but we do have Shyvana setting up here, and it looks like she's going to back off. Well, we'll keep the focus right here. Demonic Xerxes hanging out here, does have double buff. Let's see if he's going to be able to go for this or not. Varis actually just got hit with the Rune Prison and actually took quite a bit of damage there, so some nice damage coming out from that Ryze player. Anyway, let's see. Just don't want to go into the skills discussion while it looks like they're still setting up for a gank right here. Anyway, Varis is drinking his health potions as he got set up for that. So I still, if I remember from this game, I think that Shyvana comes out here and goes for this gank. This is really the perfect time to try to do it, is right now. Ryze is also quite low on mana. So anyway, here we go. Here comes Demonic Xerxes going to come out here as Shyvana. There is the damage. Ryze going to flash away, but Demonic Xerxes is going to pick off that kill. So a nice job right there. Okay, so anyway, that was first blood in the match, and Demonic Xerxes, our Shyvana player, did take that first blood. Okay, as I was saying, the first skill for Vlad is his Q. It's the one you level up first. It's the one you max out first, and allows him to steal health from the target. His E is called Tides of Blood. Kind of an interesting skill. Costs a flat amount of health. Deals area of effect damage in the area. You can see deals 60 plus 15 magic damage to nearby enemies. And each cast gives him a stack, which increases healing and regeneration. Also causes the damage to increase. So basically, deals area of effect damage, costs health to use, and it can stack up to 4 times. Each stack means that you spend more health to use the skill, but you also deal more damage, basically. So increases more damage with each stack, but you deal more damage to yourself as well. Higher health cost. Then Vlad's W is his Troll Pool, also known as the official name Sanguine Pool. Sinks into a pool of blood for 2 seconds, untargetable, and he slows enemies on the pool of blood. Deals magic damage to anyone on the pool. And so again, this makes him untargetable. So this was the Troll Pool before the Troll Pole that Fizz uses, that people might be more familiar with these days. And it also is a slow. Now, the cost is 20% of current health. So usually what Vlad players want to do is they want to get real low, and then right when they're about to die, they'll use their Q, use their transfusion, then sink into the Sanguine Pool. And then by the time they come back up again from their Sanguine Pool, their Q is back off cooldown, and they can Q again. So you can do all sorts of heal baiting with Vlad. That's also why Varis has taken Summoner Heal. It's a very good summoner to run on Vlad. Allows him to get really low, and just when you think that he's about to die, he pops Summoner Heal, and then he uses his transfusion, and all of a sudden, no, he's not actually dead. So heal works quite well with Vladimir. And then his ultimate, Hemoplague. It's an area of effect spell. Deals damage to anyone within the target area, and let's see, increases damage, so anyone who gets hit by it takes 14% increased damage, and then after 5 seconds are up, they take magic damage. This is an area of effect skill, deals quite a bit of damage. Anyway, we do have a fight going on down here. The Rammus player, Enigmarar, coming in, going after Demonic Xerxes, right, they're going to go for the taunt, but he obviously saw Varis coming. Looks like they had a ward. There is the Hemoplague. Is it going to finish off Rammus? And no, not quite going to finish him off. Defensive ball curl. And over here, Gilcon is going to get that kill on the Gangplank player. Aborted Wang Cake. So Varis coming down to gank, but their team able to slip out of it. So only 1 kill taken there. And a relatively even fight, but our team coming out ahead on top. Meanwhile, up in top lane, I am still going back and forth with this Irelia player, 90 Beast. And I haven't shown too much of that because Varis hasn't been looking up there. But yeah, playing Little Badger Teemo up there in top lane. And I'm not much of a Teemo player, but I was trying to mess around with that and have some fun with it in this game. Okay, so Vlad, traditionally, when Vlad was first came out, he was really strong. He came out in, I think, the summer of last year, or maybe it was a year and a half ago, can't remember. But really strong champion, really difficult to deal with. Then after that, he got a series of nerfs. They nerfed a lot of his skills, nerfed a lot of his cooldowns, really, because his cooldowns were quite low. And he's been pretty underplayed for a long time now, but this patch is likely going to bring him back for a couple of different reasons. So what was it that this patch did? Well, first of all, it lowered the cooldown on his Q at early ranks. It left it unchanged at max rank at 5 points in the skill, but at early ranks it lowered the cooldown. And that's a pretty big deal because Vlad is very weak in the early game, but he gets much stronger as the game goes on, particularly as the cooldown goes down on his Q. Now, secondly, the next buff that Vlad received was they decreased the health cost on his Tides of Blood, decreased the health cost on his E. So while it continues to do the same amount of damage, it does not cost as much health as it did before. So that's a pretty substantial buff too. And then finally, the biggest one was his ult doesn't cost mana now. His ult used to cost mana to use, but now it doesn't cost mana. And that's a pretty big deal. Anyway, up in top lane, I got ganked by Rammus, and I was able to trade 1-for-1 with the Irelia player, 90 Beast. So we went 1-for-1 in that particular fight. So as I said, his ult no longer costs mana. It used to cost, I think it cost a percentage of his health, not sure. But altogether, those 3 were really substantial buffs to Vlad, and it really has increased his power. Now, Vlad is one of the most irritating champs to deal with in the game just because of his sustain, because of the damage he deals. And one of the biggest issues is if you build Vlad correctly, he's really difficult to force out of lane. Let me explain why that is. The typical Vlad build is you first item, usually obviously going to start boots 3 pots like most mages do in mid, but then first item is this, the Hextech Revolver, ability power and spell vamp, turning that revolver into a Will of the Ancients pretty early on. The reason why this works is Vlad's Q synergizes so well with spell vamp. He deals damage, he gets damage from his Q, and then, like, watch right there. See the 41 plus 66? See the little numbers? I'll try to highlight it again the next time Varis uses his Q. Let's see, right there, see the 24 plus 71? So his Q deals the initial damage and heals Vlad, then he gets healed again with the spell vamp, so he gets double healing. And then when he uses skills like his Tides of Blood, it's supposed to cost health, but if he has enough spell vamp, it doesn't even cost health. So what you end up is a manaless caster, so he doesn't need any mana to use his skills. His skills are supposed to cost health to use, but they really don't because he's just spell vamping it back immediately every time he uses his skills. So Varis now has gone for Will of the Ancients. That's going to give him 25% spell vamp. So 25% of the magic damage he deals is going to be redirected back to him healing him. And what you end up with is this caster who you can't force out of lane. He doesn't have to worry about mana. He doesn't need blue buff. Can give blue to somebody else, or he can take blue just for the cooldown reduction. Doesn't need to worry about mana, and if you try to trade with him, you both deal damage to each other, but he's healing himself constantly at the same time. So like right there, Varis going to go up and use his Q, going to use his E, his Tides of Blood, use his Transfusion, and it's just going to be really difficult for this Rise player, Gurkelar, in order to trade with him. So Vlad just makes it so it's almost impossible to push him out of lane, and he's one of the most frustrating champs to play against. So I am not looking forward to Vlad coming back again. I very much liked it when Vlad was not a very strong champion, because I definitely remember playing against him when he was super strong, and he is just not a particularly fun champ to play against due to all of his sustain. Anyway, so far, Varis just has the 2 assists, and Varis does have the Bloodlord Vladimir skin. Varis seems to have every skin. I don't know how he gets these things. But anyway, in terms of farm, 85 minion kills, Rise on 50, so pretty far ahead. And Rise, another champ who is doesn't really get stronger until late game. Rise, of course, has his spell vamp right there, has popped his ult, using it for the extra spell vamp to try to heal up there, but just does not have the same kind of sustain that Vladimir does in lane. So a little bit of a difficult laning matchup there. Right now, there's not that much going on. Let's see. In top lane, I have 68 minion kills. Aurelia has 37. So Aurelia's been playing really defensively. That means I haven't killed Aurelia, aside from that one time where we went 1 for 1. But it does mean that I've been able to out-farm. And meanwhile, Varis just farming up mid. Looks like there is an engagement down here. Enigmarar coming in. There's the Gangplank ult. Looks like we're going to have a fight down here. No health bars. I see Demonic Xerxes jumping in there as Shyvana. Gilkhan following after the fight. It looks like they are going to kill Katarina Aetox. And I guess that's going to be it for this particular fight. Meanwhile, Varis is just pushing on this tower. This is one of the best things to do against Rise. Rise becomes really strong as the longer the game goes on, but Rise's weakness in lane is that he doesn't really have a lot of area of effect damage. He's mostly single target damage with his overload. So what Varis is doing is he's pushing this to tower. Like, see how he used his Tides of Blood to hit all the creeps? Varis is pushing to tower again and again, and it's very difficult for Rise to farm at tower. So this is one of the things you can do against Rise, is you can push to tower, where it makes it really hard for him to farm, because he does most of his farming with his overload. Also, Varis has run Gurkelar out of mana. Notice how as Rise, he's all out of mana. He really needs a blue buff or something, but that blue buff's being taken by Demonic Xerxes right now. Meanwhile, Varis, again, as I said, doesn't have to worry about mana. It continues to heal every time he uses his abilities, and like I said, just putting a lot of pressure on the Rise player, Gurkelar, right here. And that tower is getting pretty low too. Tower's about to go down, and that is actually going to be trouble for Rise, because right there goes the Hemoplague ult, and that's just going to finish him off instantly. So Hemoplague ult, then Q, then E, and Rise just died instantly because he had already taken a lot of harass. So again, notice how once again, Tides of Blood, even with the 4 stacks, which is supposed to cost, it's supposed to cost 50 health, but just not really costing anything because of the spell vamp. And getting into this fight right there, there's the what is it called? Sanguine Pool for the slow, and that's to help Demonic Xerxes pick up that kill on the Katarina player. So our team in good shape. Actually had 9-1 in kills right now. Meanwhile, I actually was getting engaged upon by 90 Beast up here, and I was not expecting that, because he had been playing so defensively prior to that. Actually going to score the kill. Meanwhile, now Varis getting chased by Rammus and and Gangplank right there. They're trying to escape. There's the pool. There is the summoner heal. Here comes the Gangplank ult coming out right here. Demonic Xerxes trying to get into the fight. Varis is very low. There's the flash. Does he have enough room for a Q? And actually does manage to get off another Q. But as it turns out, Rise is actually there as well. So going to pick off that kill. Now can Shyvana make it out of here? And Shyvana going to live? No, falls down to Rise. So Gurkhalar actually going to score a double kill right there. And nicely done. There he's popping his ultimate, getting the extra spell vamp. But he is quite low right now. Aetox needs to block that. Nope, not able to. Gilkhan going to pick that off. So anyway, just pausing to look at the scoreboard for a second, our Shyvana player, Demonic Xerxes, has played really well. He's 5-1 to this point, and our bottom lane has just destroyed their bottom lane. So Gilkhan having a nice game as well, but again, I do think a big part of that, and right there's a Katarina ultimate, is Taric going to survive? Yes, Taric's going to use his summoner heal. A big part of that is just the bottom lane they ran. They ran Katarina Gangplank in bottom lane, and you just can't play that against a Caitlyn Taric lane. You really need to have an AD in support. So again, I think that that's partly a function of just having the wrong lane there. Anyway, Varis does have the most farm in this game by a decent margin. We're all a little low on farm. I felt like I had missed a lot of creep kills in this game. 90 at the 15-minute mark is not good. Varis in better shapes, maybe a little low. Maybe should be around 130, 140 at this point in time, but still not bad, certainly. Anyway, he's gone back. He has picked up Sorcerer's Shoes, has picked up Needlessly Large Rod, so he's starting to stack up that AP, 220 right now. Meanwhile, there is a fight going on here in top lane while Varis does blue. We're going to check out this fight right now, trying to chase down Aurelia. Gilkhan and Confused Killers are both up here. I've got a lot of mushrooms in the area, so that is going to help out. Going to put down another one right there. And anyway, their team is coming in. Here comes VarisNox as well, but right there, aborted Wankate, going to step on that trap. And watch right here, Rammus going to hit that mushroom, going to powerball right over the mushroom. And then I'm going to finish him off with a blinding dart. So we actually had all 5 of us up here. Notice that Katarina not here. So we actually had a 5-on-4 in our advantage right there. And Rammus, let me see if I can scroll down so you can see this. Rammus going to say shrooms. And yep, indeed, that is the advantage of Teemo. Gets that mushroom forest. If you can see on the minimap just how many mushrooms are up there in top lane. So yes, that is the one thing that Teemo can do. Make it very hard for you to gank him. Make it so everybody has to step on those mushrooms when they try to go up there to top lane. Now, Varis has picked up blue buff. Again, he's getting this for the cooldown reduction. He does not actually need mana as a manaless caster, but went from 4% cooldown reduction to 20% cooldown reduction, which is a pretty big deal. Right there, engaging on Rise, going to drop into the Sanguine pool. And right here, trying to engage on Katarina, and that is going to be enough right there. The Hemoplague ultimate, and then a transfusion. And that was enough to get the kill onto Katarina right there. So able to pick up that one as well as part of the team. And then notice how Varis is all the way back to full health again. Again, that spell vamp, get a lot of AP, get that spell vamp, and it's just so hard to force Vlad out of lane due to the fact that he's able to heal himself so easily. So yes, Vlad, very irritating champion, not my favorite. Anyway, Rammus is going to powerball over that mushroom. I believe our team is going to back off though because Dragon is up, and I believe we're going to go for this Dragon. Keep an eye on here, but nope, their team not really going for this. I'm going to come down here on little badger legs and do my best to help out here. And are we going to take that? Yes, able to score that Dragon, no problem. So I think that was the first Dragon we took. I'm not 100% sure. I think it might have been. And in any case, we are going to head back to farm lanes and just try to get that much stronger. In very comfortable shape, I had 15-4 in kills, but even though kills, of course, are always significant, it really is the farm differential as well. We're pretty far ahead in farm. Varis at 129 to Rise is 70, and Rise is the highest on their team. Right there, 90 Beast are really going to go in, going to engage. A nice stun from Confused Killer onto 90 Beast, getting that stun to help protect, and then going to allow us to escape. Meanwhile, I'm heading up here to top lane. Let's see, I'm going to engage on Gangplank, except he just decides to back off. So anyway, as I said, I just topped 100 minion kills, and Aurelia is on 68, so in pretty comfortable shape, although I have died twice, which is not the greatest. And now just going to continue pushing on this lane to have 3 champs here. Here comes Demonic Xerxes playing as Shyvana, and this tower is really low. Probably want to finish off the tower, and then their team's going to be forced to back off. It is a 4-on-3 in their advantage. There goes Gangplank, though, going to back off. And actually, do they have all... They have at least 4 members of their team here. Not sure if they have all 5. Meanwhile, I'm splitting in top, and Gilkhan, our Caitlyn player, splitting in bot. But it doesn't look like we're going to be able to push into the base right there. So the rest of the team's going to back off. And they're going to go for this blue buff right here, while Gilkhan continues to attack this tower, continuing to put damage. Now here they come. Here comes the rest of the team. Going to start to engage on Gilkhan. There is the Gangplank ultimate. Nicely done. Exhaust on Gilkhan, our Caitlyn. Going to use that net and do a nice job there. Here comes VarisNox. Confused Killer is engaging on Gangplank. They're still chasing after Gilkon down here, so he needs to escape. That's a nice trap placement, by the way. Let's see if Rammus is going to step on it. Yes, Rammus going to step on the trap. Meanwhile, Varis engaging with Katarina, engaging back and forth there. Who is going to get this kill? And going to miss on that Tides of Blood, was out of range. Katarina's still down here, though, and she's going to try to Shunpo, but it's not going to work. And meanwhile, up here, aborted Wangcake able to get that kill on onto who else just died? Onto Confused Killer Sartark. And then meanwhile, up in top lane, meanwhile Gilkon actually used his ult to get that kill. Meanwhile, I was split pushing top, and they sent 2 champs up there, and actually were able to get the kill on me. I actually misplayed that. I think I really should have been able to escape that. But because they sent 2 champs top, that means that there's not going to be anyone down here in order to stop this push, and we should be able to get this extra tower here in bottom without any real problems. So there it goes. Going to score that tower. And now I think Varis is going to go back to buy, because he's sitting on 2,400 gold, and he'll be able to pick up some nice stuff back at the shop right there. Or no, actually, no, he's not going back to the shop. I assumed that he was. This is not really a very safe place to be right here. Let's see if Demonic Xerxes can manage to get out of here. Here's 3 enemy champs coming in after him. And this is really not a good fight. Probably should have just backed. Anyway, Varis can use this ult. He only hit Rammus. No, he hit Rammus and Katarina. Not the best. Let's see, right there. Going to get the kill on Rammus with his Tides of Blood. Now taking damage from the enemy team. Let's see. He does have Aurelia very low. There's another kill. Gets the second one. But that's all he's going to be able to get. Actually, all 5 members of the enemy team were there. So they just 2v5'd and managed to go 2 for 2. Still, probably should have just backed, should have just left. That really wasn't the best fight to take on. Should have just backed earlier. When you're ahead, you don't want to give kills to the enemy team. See, we're way ahead. We don't want to give them kills. That's how they get back into the match. We really don't want to do that. Not that it's a huge deal, but it would have been better just to back there and not give them extra opportunities. Anyway, so I'm just going to keep doing the Teemo thing, stay in top lane, keep split pushing, keep dropping mushrooms, keep trying to farm up. In terms of items, I've got Wriggle's Lantern, and then I picked up Malady, and now I'm going to go for Wit's End as my next item because their team has more magic damage than physical. Katarina and Ryze. Wait, I guess Katarina wasn't in a solo lane, so I mean, they had a mixture of magic and physical damage, but figured that I would get Wit's End. It's a good item on Teemo. Give him extra attack speed. Synergizes well with Malady. Anyway, I'm going after Nigmarar's Rammus up here. He really wasn't that low. Gilkon just going to use the ultimate. We were able to bait out a Gangplank ult, which is not bad. Meanwhile, Varis on his trip back picked up a Death Cap and another Blasting One. He's going to get blue again. In the meantime, keep the focus up here. We have to be a little bit careful about engaging, though, because we really only do have 4 members of our team. We don't have VarisNox with us. We don't really want to fight 4 against 5 up here if we don't need to. I know there's no health bars. It's an issue with LoL Replay, but we are stronger than their team, so we can sit back and poke at them a little bit. I'm just trying to poke with my poison. Teemo doesn't have much range, but all I have to do is shoot someone one time, and they take a lot of poison damage. And then we do have those Caitlyn Peacemakers. Anyway, Varis is now up here. He and Demonic Xerxes going to start to circle around, and we're going to go in as soon as they get here. There goes Demonic Xerxes. We've managed to force several of them away from the tower. Varis should probably use his ult while they're all grouped up. There it is right there. Going to use his ult. Gangplank is low. There he falls to the Tides of Blood. There falls Rammus to the Hemoplague ult, and going to score a double kill. And then Demonic Xerxes is going to pick off Gurkelar, the Ryze player, as well. So we just went 3 for 0 in that fight, and we're in really good shape right now. That was a nice play. We were able to get them low, and then while we had their attention tied up at the tower, slipped around here behind them. They really needed a ward right there in that brush in order to defend against that. Anyway, right there, Katarina trying to defend the tower, but really just needed to give that one up. I mean, it was a 5-on-2. Really had no chance to hold that. I know it's frustrating. I know you want to try to defend that, but there really was no chance to hold on to that. We're just too far ahead at this point. Too difficult for them to stop us. Trying to go after 90 Beast, the Aurelia player, right now, but we don't have that many minions, and their team is reviving. They actually have 4 back up, so we really need to leave out of here, escape out of the base. There's nothing more we can get here. Best thing to do is just back out and make our approach in from another direction, such as going in right here. So anyway, look, Varis going to use his Tides of Blood, and that is the advantage of Vlad. Deals all that damage, and then immediately heals right back up to full again. So we're going to look to poke on this tower right here. Let's see, I'm poking on, although the tower I think was shooting at me. Anyway, right there, team coming out. Going to go after that Aurelia. Nice stun, by the way, from Confused Killer, and he's actually going to get the kill with his shadow right there. So nice job to pick off that kill. Aurelia just coming a little far forward, and we have a 5-on-4, so we should be able to get this tower. It's also very low, and that's going to open up more of their base to us as we're able to take this inhib without any real issues. See if they try to come forward, but there's just not a lot that they can do at this point in time. Too far ahead. you can't really trade with us, and their team's a bit underleveled as well because we've been getting the extra golden experience from taking all these towers. Rammus gonna try to come forward, but right there gonna hit into Varis, but Gyokan gonna get the kill. Here comes Katarina. We need to blow her up quickly. Varis gonna drop down into the pool right there, and meanwhile Gangplank getting very low as well. Rise is down to, let's see, 50 HP. I'm going to try to flash, but I flash into the tower. He's going to flash out. And now, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. The towers are shooting me. No, don't run that way, Teemo. 9 HP. Uh-oh, down to 9 HP. Here comes Aurelia. And Aurelia really wants to kill me. She's going to try to dive past the team. There comes the Will of the Blades. Is Aurelia going to get that? No, not going to get it. And Varis is going to pick off the kill with this Q. 90Bs did manage to kill our Taric player, though. Used that Aurelia ultimate. Will of the Blades, I think it's called. Was able to pick that off. And Gurkle are going to interrupt the blue pill there, so nicely done. Bear's going to have to back right there. So I was lucky to make it out of the base there. Took a lot of damage from that tower. Made it out with 9 HP remaining. Definitely did not want to cut it that close. But did pick up Malady. And, well, I had Malady before. Did pick up Wit's End. I'm going to go for a Phage next. Probably build it into a Frozen Mallet if the game goes on any longer. Want some extra health because as Teemo, my armor and MR are quite good, but I don't have a lot of health. I need to build some more health as a character so that I can survive these fights. Teemo doesn't have much range. That's his biggest weakness as a champ. He has very short range. So I have to get pretty close to the enemy team to deal damage, and that's not what I want to. I need to be a little bit tankier if I'm going to survive those. Meanwhile, Demonic Xerxes, our Aurelia player, looks like he's got Wriggles, and it looks like he's building Trinity Force. He actually has Trinity Force probably when he goes back to base. He's got almost all of it. Varys has finished his Death Cap, picked up Void Staff, and now going for Rhyalize. Rhyalize, always a key item on any of the Monolith casters because it adds health and AP. And of course, with Vlad's passive, like I said, you want to build health and AP on him, so it really works quite well. But he went for the Void Staff first so he can get extra magic penetration, and that's a lot of magic pen. So let's highlight the passive here. Varys is getting 11 bonus ability power from that Giant's Belt, but he is getting 700 bonus health, and yeah, that's a pretty big deal. Anyway, Enigmarar getting quite low here, but it looks like he is going to manage to escape right there. We did not go in for the full engage. I'm trying to poke at this tower right there. A nice stun going in. Is anyone going to finish off Rammus? No, actually not. Katarina going to try to use her ultimate, but just gets blown up instantly right there. And right there, Varys is going to pick off another kill onto Rise, picking up his 11th kill of the match. And now we've got the last in him, and with a 5-on-3, shouldn't have any real trouble pushing over the base and finishing up with this match. Their team going to try to defend. Here comes 90Beast doing his best to try to hold out. He's going to make it back into the fountain. Yes, is going to escape back into the fountain right there. And here comes aborted Wang Cake. There goes the laser trying to deal damage. Here comes Demonic Xerxes, but the Nexus is about to fall, and not too much more left in that. And by the way, there goes Demonic Xerxes. He walks into the fountain, gets a little bit too close to the enemy team. But that's going to be the end of the match. Not going to matter right there. And that's going to be it for this one. So let's try to polish this one off, finish it up, and add some ending thoughts. Okay, as it turned out, I didn't really do that much in this game aside from simply farm top lane. I mean, I did okay, but I didn't really play all that spectacular. As it was more VarisNox as Vladimir, and then our jungler, Demonic Xerxes, playing as Shyvana, and then our bottom lane, Gyokan as Caitlyn, and Confused Killers as Taric, who really dominated this game and carried our team to a win. Their stats look really good all the way around. Can see how much global gold that they were all able to pick up and really just dominated the game. Varis was able to control mid. Demonic Xerxes had a lot of nice ganks playing as Shyvana. And then our bottom lane just so much stronger. Again, you just can't really play these kind of weird bottom lanes against a bottom lane that's as strong as something like Kate Taric. It's just you're going to lose, and I think that their team just got a little bit confused or a little bit disorganized on the champion select screen and ended up with something that they didn't want. Anyway, though, Vlad looks to be very strong. I've seen people playing him on stream with a lot of success. I think you're going to see a lot of him in the next few weeks. Hopefully they will revert some of these changes because they have definitely overbuffed Vlad, and I have a feeling that he's going to be getting nerfs. Probably not in, maybe not in the next patch, but I bet in a month or so you're going to see Vlad getting nerfed again, and really just a little bit too much. You have to be really careful with these monolith casters like Vlad, and it's just very difficult to deal with him right now, particularly if he can get his Hextech Revolver early on, and then he just lifesteals so much from using his skills that it's just almost impossible to force him out of lane. Anyway, though, once again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you have a chance this weekend, check out IEM Kiev. It's going to be a big tournament. Hope it should be pretty exciting. Anyway, until next time, take care, guys, and I'll see you soon.